Hi, I'm Lippy.
And I'm Grumpy. Together we're Lippy and Grumpy do podcasting.
In this episode, Twotter spotting, turbo irons, cheese chasing, and a fish finger recommendation.
Now, Lippy.
Hello.
We're back to normal.
Oh God, just about.
Just about. We missed last week, as
Yeah.
Orange Marshall, who's not an Orange Marshall anymore too, pointed out. And I said we'd had some microphone issues. So you've got a spanking new Rode microphone in front of you.
I do. It's very swanky, if I do say so.
Rather annoyingly, I ordered two because I thought I deserved to sound better as well. And
Definitely.
mine doesn't turn up until tomorrow. So you'll have to wait till next week to hear me in glorious Rode sound.
I'm going to have to listen back this week just so that I can hear how I sound.
Yes, it definitely sounds different on this end through headphones. A little
We'll have
bit
to see.
fuller. We'll see what it pops out the other end after it's done all sorts of compressing and other sort of malarkey. Anyway, while we were off, well, you were off, I was not off, I was just faffing around. Minnie, Matt and Disney Joe were on a bit of a tour up north into Scotland and did a bit of Twotter spotting.
Oh,
Yeah, so nice bit of video he sent me of the Twotter landing on the beach. I think it's at Barra. Fairly
how many
certain it's
Twotters did they spot us?
Barra. I'm not sure. There were several clips, but I suspect it was of the same plane. But it is a scheduled flight from the beach at Barra to somewhere else. It's very short. Not the shortest. We've covered that before. But, yeah, it's great to see a bit of Twotter spotting. Now, over the last few weeks, there's been quite a lot in the press about artificial intelligence.
Yes.
And I'm wondering whether it's the 1980s equivalent of the use of the word turbo. Turbo was in some cars, Saab in particular, the Porsche 911 Turbo. But it became a buzzword for all sorts of things. And there was a turbo button on a computer, which just changed the clock speed slightly.
Oh.
So it was a bit faster.
I was like, what does that do?
No, it just changed it. Well, it didn't. It wasn't a turbo in terms of sucking and blowing and all of that sort of stuff.
My laptop needs a turbo button. It's slow as anything.
Well, you probably need a new laptop, to be honest. Because the problem
It's
is
my
you
work one.
press the button, it gets hotter. That's the thing. There was turbo running shoes and turbo irons.
There's a film called Turbo as well about a snail.
There is, and that doesn't have a turbo in it at all. It's just very fast. So it did become a synonym for fast. And I do wonder whether AI has been just tacked onto all sorts of things where it's not really deserved.
Yes. Have you seen the Photoshop AI videos?
No, I haven't.
People using AI to Photoshop. Although I don't think it's a computer generated option based off what you type into it.
Yeah, you see, that's not, in my view,
It's
that's not really AI.
And some of the things that come out of it are not good.
No, exactly. And if it was true AI, you give it a picture to do whatever, and it would look at it and go, oh, that's a bit rubbish, I'll have another go. But I won't do what I did last time. And then it would go, oh, yeah, no, that's better. Yeah, it learns.
Yes.
A lot of this stuff isn't learning. It's running a process. It's a pre-programmed process.
So one lady put flames in the field as what she wanted to add in Photoshop.
Okay.
And it came out with what I would describe as charcoal-looking sticks.
Well, I suppose the flames have come and gone.
Yes, I guess, yes. It wasn't flames in a field, though, that's for sure.
Well, we'll be keeping a careful eye on what happens. There was an interesting meme going around this week where somebody was saying, if we have AI that is generating computer software, then the people that want the software will have to adequately describe what they want. So all of our jobs are safe, because that never happens.
True that.
You show them something and go, no, that's not what I want. Now, I saw a video, this is some while back, because I've been collecting these over a number of weeks, and it was a airless tyre.
I sent you that video.
You sent it to me. It's very good. And it's a little bit hard to describe. So the outside of the tyre that's in contact with the road looks like a tyre as we would know it.
Yes.
And there's no sidewall on these. But inside there's a series of what look like chevrons. So there's springy bits of rubber which take the place of the air. So you can quite happily drive over a nail and it go through and no puncture. And presumably they wear the same as other tyres
Normal.
because you've got a tread on there that wears down. But I would imagine the damage or the amount of tyres replaced by potholes would reduce significantly.
Massively.
Yes, there's no chance really of catching the sidewall of the tyre in the pothole and damaging it because there is no sidewall to do it. I would imagine there's probably quite a bit of fun filling your mate's tyres up with stones. Unless it has actually got a sidewall on it. But, yes, interesting. Very interesting. And apparently there's some bike tyres as well. So,
that would definitely help me because I probably buy about 8 new tyres a year.
What, because of potholes?
Just because of my bad luck with tyres, really. Mixture, potholes, nails, cracks.
Yeah, you do buy an awful lot of tyres.
I do. To the point where I actually took the insurance out on the tyres that I bought. The new 2 new ones.
They'll never wear out now.
I know. But I only paid like £14 for it, so.
That's probably worth spending your money on. A friend of mine's bought an Austin Healey from 1955, I think it is, quite an old one. And it's been beautifully restored. It's very good. But the tyres, we suspect, are about 10 years old. And I saw him last week with it. And I said, you really ought to replace those because they start to go hard. And it's fine in the dry, but you get a bit of wet on there and there's no grip whatsoever. As demonstrated by another friend of mine in the wet with his 15-year-old tyres on an MG Midget. And nearly ended up in the estate agent office. So you do need to replace them. Yes. Even if you haven't done the miles and worn them out, they don't last forever. And I think trucks and coaches and buses, there's a 5-year limit. You have to replace them after 5 years.
Anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah, so certainly.
Makes sense.
Absolutely, because they don't last forever.
No.
The rubber starts to go off. Anyway, changing the subject slightly, and there would have been a reason for this appearing in our show notes, but I can't remember what it is because it is too long ago. But I came across this Betteridge law of headlines. And what it is, any headline that ends in a question mark can be answered by the word no. And I think it's probably a lot of the clickbait that goes on with some of the tabloids these days, where a question is posed. Let's put it that way, in a clicky-baity style.
Yeah.
This was named after Ian Betteridge, a British technology journalist who wrote about it in 2009. Although the principle of the question is quite a bit older. And he said the reason why journalists use that style of headline is that they know the story is probably rubbish and don't actually have the sources and facts to back it up, but still want to run it. And I do find those things annoying.
Yeah, me too. I get suckered into them as well. Like I'm a sucker.
It's so hard not to do. But some of them is... people are just realising, and then there's a very obvious fact, and you just go, well, that's not true.
No, yeah.
It's horrible, cheap, horrible journalism. Journalism?
It is journalism.
Yeah, it is journalism.
That's what it is.
I've invented a new word.
That is a good new word.
And talking about journalism, our old our old friend Elon Musk, we've been away for a few weeks. The teeth aren't working properly. So Elon Musk had a rocket launch back in April. Gosh, this is going back a bit. And for SpaceX. And the first one was cancelled, very close to takeoff. And Elon Musk put a tweet out saying, a pressurant valve appears to be frozen, so unless it starts operating soon, no launch today. And indeed, there was no launch. Somebody put in the comments underneath that, yo, Elon Musk, don't let a frozen valve hash your vibe. Just like how the Acid Ape Society NFT rolls with the punches of the crypto game. I have no idea what these words mean, but I thought it was... it's one of those things. Is it a bit of clever marketing, or you just being a bit of desperate smarty pants by doing that?
Well, the person that commented it has a blue tick, which suggests to me that they are a famous business person.
Well, don't they just pay a fee now for a blue tick?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
It's gone through so many iterations. I don't know. A lot of people seem to do this, and there's a regular column in Private Eye where they look at a headline and the automatically generated advert for that headline, and sometimes they're really quite opposed to one another. And Yes, a little bit not very nice, but I'm not sure. It's almost smacks of ambulance chasing with this. You find a social media post that you know lots of people are going to look at because it's somebody famous, and then you start advertising something. I don't even understand what he's advertising.
Yeah. If you look at some people's famous ones, you can see some weird things being advertised.
Yes.
Some naughty things.
Yes. Apparently, Facebook Marketplace advertising bedroom furniture very cheaply is not advertising bedroom furniture. I've only just discovered that. I was quite horrified. We were in the pub last night after the Lions beating, and nobody else knew that. So and they were all horrified.
I bet you they've all looked it up now, though.
Well, no, most of them don't do any sort of social media because they're too old.
They're too old.
In fact, one bloke said, "Oh no, I do social media. I do WhatsApp." That's not social media.
Not social media.
It's not really social media.
Although you can post statuses now, can't you, on WhatsApp?
I have no idea. And talking to the socials, I had an 8-year-old memory come up on Facebook that I didn't recognise at all. And I wondered whether Facebook just serves up random photos from somewhere else just to mess with you.
I've never not recognised one of my
No, this one. I wish I
memories.
kept it now. It was a long while ago. Well, I'd say long, probably April. And I really didn't recognise it.
I'll show you. I'll show you how to do that. Like the old man you are. I'll help you with your Facebook account.
We had a friend that lost his access to Facebook a while back, or to his business page.
Yes,
and
got hacked.
Yes, he did get hacked, and then they deleted a whole load of photos and start putting other ones in there. My question is, if that happens to you, do their photos then start coming up as memories in a few years' time?
I don't think they do if they've been deleted.
Okay.
Because otherwise it wouldn't
does it really
it was a
delete
memory. Yeah, that's the question. Does it really delete it? That happened to my friend as well, actually. Basically, what they do is they're trying to get a profile with loads of followers to sell it. So they hack into it, delete everything, but they keep all the followers and then start posting the stuff that they want, or they sell it to someone so they can advertise their business stuff.
But this chap seemed to be posting links, I think, to Netflix films and programs. So nothing offensive.
But then you log on to your Netflix through the link, then he gains access to however many people did that account.
Well, only if it's a fake Netflix login. But yes, I can see how that would happen. But my friend was most perturbed because he got so many more likes for the fake version of him than he did for his own.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's quite put out. I mean, substantially more. Not just a few, but a shed load more.
That's funny.
Now, the recent bank holiday at the end of May, there was, after a break of a few years, I think, a very old race on a hill in Gloucester, Cooper's Hill near Gloucester, where they chase a 3-kilogram cheese wheel down a hill that you wouldn't contemplate walking down, let alone run down. And I don't think the object of it is to actually get the cheese. I think the object is to be the first one down the hill.
Yes, it is.
This year, the lady that arrived at the bottom was unconscious. So she'd fallen over, knocked herself out halfway down, continued tumbling, arrived in first place, unconscious, and woke up in the ambulance to be told she'd won.
That's so funny. To be honest, there was a documentary. It was one episode in a longer documentary of, I think it was like Ridiculous Sports or something like that.
Yes,
it was, and people training to do this. And like practicing and being like, you basically just can't let you have to imagine you're jumping on a cloud. Like you have to keep really springy and just like let your legs do what they want to do. And someone did say it's safe if you fall. It's safer to be knocked out by the fall because then your body goes floppy and you don't try and stop yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's so steep, like you're not stopping, you're going straight to the bottom.
Yes, I can see how you could break your wrist or other
Putting an
limbs
arm down.
try to slow yourself down. Yes, that makes complete sense. And obviously is true because the unconscious person won.
Yeah. I really want to give it a go, but then I would probably die.
Have you seen the videos?
Yeah. I watched the whole documentary.
I mean, you wouldn't ski down it. It's too steep.
Yeah. That's like a Black Star run if it's a ski slope.
It'd be interesting to know
An
how that would be
Olympic
graded.
mogul field. That's what it would be classed as.
Well, possibly, but I don't think they're as steep as that hill. And I've no idea why that still runs. You'd think that health and safety would have got in the way.
I think it's because it's not an official event.
Okay.
It's a town event and people just turn up and do it, which is how they did explain in the documentary how it's not, how they're still able to do it without any restrictions because it's not technically an event that's organised by a town council, so they don't need any permissions or...
I think they're sailing pretty close to the wind, to be honest. I mean, if they've got a medical tent, then there's some organisation. It's not just a bunch of people turning out with a lump of cheese. There's a bit more organising that goes on. And I thought you had to have a permit for more than a certain number of people if you organise it. It's called a TENS. Yeah. The amount of health and safety and insurance aggravation we've had with the car show this year is just, you'll get to the point you just go, do you know, I don't think I can be bothered anymore. It's too much.
Be interesting. I might rewatch the documentary on it.
Yeah, that would be quite interesting to see, actually. Look out for that. Now, Wife of Grumpy has solved a problem.
Sorry. She's done what?
As you know, Wife of Grumpy uses the terms Lidl and Aldi interchangeably.
Yes.
So there's no difference as far as she's concerned. But there is a term that combines the two, and it's Lidaldi. Lidaldi, which you could cover either one of those two budget supermarkets. I call it budget supermarket. Sometimes it's a bit more of a jumble sale, but...
more of a pick and mix.
Pick and mix. But they do have some amazing products.
Oh, yeah. I love Aldi. I don't like Lidl.
Lidl tools are very, very good. I recently purchased a plasma cutter, which I've yet to use, which is used for chopping up metal. But it doesn't distort it because it's not hot, or not as hot. So if you're not sure, Lidaldi is the phrase to use.
Lidaldi.
Now, I was surprised to see on one of the socials a picture of the bird's eye fish finger wrapper. And it had some words on it that we'll come to in a minute. And I thought, no, that's been doctored. And it had somebody's review almost of it there, what they said was good about it. So I went and had a look, and I looked on the Morrison's online website, and there was a picture of it. So it is true. And the person's critique of the fish fingers finishes with, never fails to disappoint.
Yeah.
Never fails to disappoint.
I don't get it.
Well, it always disappoints. If it never fails to disappoint.
Oh.
Yeah. Never fails to disappoint.
They did what I did then. They looked at it and I was like, great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, because you look at it and you think because it is something promotional, it's not going to be derogatory. But in fact it is. Never fails to disappoint.
If you expect the worst...
Well, it doesn't say much, does it, really?
No.
It certainly doesn't say much in their marketing department. Now, Sister of Grumpy sent me a link to a BBC News website page where a dad has completed 1,000 days of toy car photos around the UK. And he's gone to various locations all around the UK with little toy cars and vans and things like that. And he's taken some absolutely stunning photos. So the car is right in the front of the shot. And there's all sorts of things behind. There's stately homes and there's bridges and all sorts of things. And it's fantastic. And I can't find where the 1,000 photos can be seen. So hopefully it's around somewhere. Cool. It is really cool. And he started it in lockdown. You know, a great thing to do in lockdown, and then just got carried away. And he's got an Instagram account, so presumably it'll be on there.
Posted
so that'll be worth, be posted on there. But to make the BBC News website for a lockdown project, it's quite something, really.
That is.
He did say after a year he'd stop, so he's obviously found
some
it to
sort
be quite
of payment.
Either payment or quite therapeutic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great because it's a bit of photography, which is a great hobby, and it's a bit of travel, which is a great hobby. And
get to visit cool places.
Exactly, and take photos.
Yeah.
Very good indeed.
Not the worst job in the world.
Definitely not. I have a few candidates for worst job in the world.
Me too, actually.
Mine would be the person that operates the top lift on the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah.
Not good.
Not good.
It's cold in the winter, hot in the summer. Mm-hmm. And you're just going up and down all day.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of lifts in the best of times as well.
No.
Let alone the one at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
No, I very nearly didn't get in it because it didn't look like it was going to make it, to be honest.
No.
It's a bit rough and ready, but it was okay. Now, I think a few weeks ago I had a bit of a moan about people talking at concerts.
Oh, yes, you did.
And one in particular. And back in May, which actually is not that long ago, John Mellencamp stopped his concerts and told people to shut up.
Ooh.
Now, this was slightly different because it was a sit-down one. So it was more of a theatre than a sort of mosh pity type thing. And it's certainly not an outdoor festival. But he really did get quite annoyed. And he said, if you don't shut up, I'm stopping.
Yeah, fair enough, though.
Yeah, absolutely fair enough. He said, if it's at a festival, well, that's one thing because it's outdoors.
Yeah, you've not maybe not paid to see him specifically.
Exactly. And it's annoying, and it must be horrendous from the stage. I mean, certainly the experience we had a while back was just so loud. And you've got to hear that from the stage. It's just so rude. So I'm right behind you, John Mellencamp. I don't know when he stopped being John Cougar Mellencamp and then went...
I have no idea who he is.
No, you wouldn't know. He's 70s and 80s American rock star. But he did change his name a few times. I think he was a Mellencamp and then he was a Cougar Mellencamp and now he's a Mellencamp again. Maybe that's a story for another day.
Yeah. Well, it's not easy to change your name, so I would know.
Yeah, but if it's your stage name...
True.
Unless you're acting, it's fairly easy, I would have thought. Just use it.
Because technically, I still legally haven't changed my name because no one's told me I have.
Nobody's told you.
I'm still waiting for them to confirm they received my changes.
Oh, okay. Yes, we serviced your car last weekend and took out a day insurance, and I wasn't sure what name to use, so I used your old one because I thought there's no way you've got as far as changing all that stuff.
Well, I'm going away on hollybobs, and I thought, do you know what? To be safe, let's not change the passport until we get back. Because once we're back, I don't need my passport, so they can take as long as they need.
Yeah. The last experiences have been really quick.
Yeah.
But there was
But then there was a strike.
Yeah. I don't know if that's been resolved.
And then I can't change my driver's license. I can't change loads of things until I've changed my passport because they need a copy of my passport to have my new name on it to make the change.
It's all a bit ridiculous in this day and age that it's not joined up.
Oh, honestly, because the government ones are the worst. I have to change everything individually.
Yeah.
Like HMRC, land registry, the other ones.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, the next story I've got, which I think I'm going to have trouble explaining, but I'm going to try anyway. And it comes from the 3M factory that has profited from mistakes in the past. So Post-it notes apparently were a bit of a mistake. The glue on there they were trying something else and came up with this stuff that peeled off quite easily. And then they thought, we could make... Obviously, they didn't say Post-it notes, but we could make notes that are removable. So 3M have done quite well from what appear to be mistakes. But back in the 80s, they seem to have made an invisible wall that people couldn't get through in the factory. And I can't quite work out how they managed it, but it looks like it's some sort of electrical force field that was generated when they were spinning polythene sheets around.
Oh, so like static energy.
Yeah, a bit like static energy. It's a really interesting article, but I don't understand it. And I was a bit pulled in by the headline of this invisible wall, but I don't really understand the science behind it. But a very, very interesting thing. Really interesting thing. And
maybe that's what Chris Angel used to walk in thin air.
Chris Angel? Who's Chris Angel?
Mind freak.
Oh, I have no idea who that is.
He's a magician that we went to see in Vegas.
Okay.
He's a mind freak.
Right.
He's the one that was walking on all the sides of the buildings. with like no harnesses who just would walk up the buildings.
Yeah, you know, these are tricks.
Yeah, but my thing is I like to know how.
Yes.
I find it more interesting knowing how, because I'm like, that's so cool that they like can figure that out, that that's how they can do it. I just can't figure it out. And every time I think about it, he was walking in thin air and then he went into a hamster wheel, and the speed in which they closed the lid at the top was like, I don't understand how they would be able to unhook him from something in that speed to then be able to close the lid. And then he's like hovering in the middle of this hamster wheel, like it's going a different direction to his. Then he comes back out the top of it, just comes out the top and just like in the air.
So I assume either it wasn't actually a hamster wheel, it was a very big wheel, or he's very small.
Oh, yes, sorry. It looks like a hamster wheel.
Okay.
Not an actual hamster wheel.
Because if he's really small, then climbing the wall possibly isn't quite as challenging as it might be if you're normal size. It's worth having a look on the internet, because a lot of these tricks are explained on there, and some of them are really simple.
He's the only one that does this trick.
Somebody would have worked it out.
But so at the very start, he like walks up a ladder. He's at the top of a ladder, and he just like goes from standing horizontally to like more and more vertical as he's walking like it's flat down the side of a ladder. And that was the start. And then I was like, that's pretty cool. And then there was no ladder. He was just in the air. Yeah, but how?
Well, we need to do a bit of reading.
How? He is a mind freak.
When David Blaine first came on the scene, there was a few. I mean, there was David Copperfield before him, so there was a few magicians at the same time. And there was a very good series on one of the Sky channels that explained how all of them worked by this magician in a mask, so his identity wasn't revealed. Yeah. And a lot of them are very simple, and a lot of them, particularly the TV ones, they just keep filming until it gets right. So when you see these street things where he's guessing something, and he's guessing 2 or 3 in a row, well, actually that could have been filmed over a whole day. And it's hundreds of contacts with people, but only 2 or 3 of them are correct. So it's not always what it seems, but the stage shows really are quite stunning. I love a magic stage show.
Yeah, he also was like swallowing razor blades and stuff.
Don't try that at home.
No, and because it was Vegas, it wasn't just Vegas. It was at Vegas, and then he was filming it for a DVD, which sounds well old school, but he was filming it for a show.
Oh, okay.
So like it was Vegas on steroids, and they were really trying to like pump the crowd up. It was quite good.
Yeah, and it is Vegas, baby.
Baby. Yes, sorry, Vegas, baby.
Now, going back as far as March, this story, it's about Toblerones, and the Toblerones people are moving some of the manufacturing outside of Switzerland, and Switzerland have turned around and said, well, you can't have the Matterhorn on it then anymore.
Ooh, oh, I did hear about this.
Yeah, not Swiss enough. So good for you, Switzerland, is what I would say.
Yeah.
If you're going to move stuff out of that country, you can't cash in on it being made in Switzerland.
Fair.
Absolutely. I don't know whether that would be enough to make them move it back again or abandon their plans.
They've got to rebrand the whole...
Yeah.
That's quite expensive.
Well, I suppose you just cut that bit out of the film that prints the cardboard, I suppose.
But you have to redo all adverts.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But no longer will you be able to say, have you seen the bear in the mountain on the Toblerone?
No.
Should be a shame. And that's been there since 1908.
Has it?
Yeah, it's over 100 years.
Maybe they'll just have the bear.
Well, the bear's in yellow, so I don't think it'll show up very well.
Put the bear in grey.
Yeah, that would do it.
Just swap the colours.
Might confuse people buying it, though.
Yeah, true.
Now, this is going back a very, very long time, back to February. So it shows you how long we've been faffing around with stuff and not getting through our list. And this is about Gen Zs and printers.
And printers.
And printers and office equipment.
Oh, God.
And it's an interesting thing because, as you know, we have a very successful car show run by the Cranley Lions. And part of that requires vehicles that are coming to be registered.
Yes.
And generally, we advise people to print tickets. And the reason for that is that we're quite old and we print stuff.
Yes.
I never go to an airport with ticket on my phone in case I lose or drop off my phone. I always print stuff out, which I believe SqueezyJet now are charging more if you turn up with a printed sheet, which is a bit of a worry. But
are they?
Well, I don't know. I may make
ticket's
that
a ticket, like.
Well, yeah, but if they've got an excuse to charge more for something, they'll do it.
True. That is true.
Anyway, so we just think printing is absolutely normal. But as we get younger car people coming up, they go, "Oh, I've got a printer." So this year we've used Eventbrite, which has been superb, and of course that gives you the ability to show the ticket on the phone. We haven't got the scanner thing.
QR scanner.
Yeah, we don't do any of that. So, but interestingly, we're getting more people saying, "I can't print the ticket."
Yeah. I don't have a printer.
No, exactly. And I begin to think about this, but also in workplaces. I mean, when I worked in an office a couple of years ago, I had a new laptop. I could not get that thing to print anything at all, which I was beginning to think was some sort of plan to save paper. And I didn't.
Yeah, so we have printers at the office, but then I don't go into the office very often.
No.
So it's not like I could be like, oh, I'll just print it tomorrow when I go in the office, because I don't. Not that I would ever use my work printer for personal items.
No, of course not. And also, we had this fancy system where, in theory, you could print it and you didn't need to say where it was going to. You went with your card to the printer, put your card on the printer.
Yes.
And it would print it there.
I had that. When they work, they're incredible, actually, because you doesn't matter where you are. They are really good, actually. I do like those. I used to print all over the place when I used mine.
Yeah, it is good. But they are a pain in the neck. I'm just going to turn the printer in this office on so you can hear. And it makes that noise when it's printing.
Oh, my God.
So Wife of Grumpy prints out a fair bit of golf stuff, and she always seems to decide to do it in the middle of a meeting as well.
It sounds like the longest fart.
It is a bit like that. I think it's just a little bit of rubber or something just needs a bit of lubrication. And it's a brand new second-hand printer. So I had an identical one which broke, and I tried to clear it with an airline and made it worse.
Look, that sentence doesn't really make sense. It's a brand new second-hand printer. Like, that's not a brand new printer.
It's a term well used.
There's a reason that it's second-hand, that they didn't want to keep it.
It was refurbished. And it works perfectly, but it does make the squeaking noise, but I don't print enough for it to be an issue. The reason I got exactly the same printer again is I've got several sets of toner cartridges, and the toner cartridges for that printer are dirt cheap.
So expensive. Oh, for this one.
Cheap.
But
whole
toner
set,
cartridges
35 quid.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Colour printer, whole set.
The ones I use at work are like £90 for one.
Exactly, which is why I bought the same printer.
That's mad.
Yeah, it is bad. Absolutely crazy prices. But when I worked for HP, they always said we make money on the ink, not the printer.
Yeah. Yeah, because people don't change their printer often. You buy one and then you've got it for ages.
Well, some of the inkjet printers, the heads would, particularly the Epson ones, the heads would just gum up completely. And you could take them to pieces and then soak them to clean it. But if you didn't use it once every few weeks, it was horrendous. I dislike printers immensely.
Yeah, I hate printers.
The point of the article is that we have a generation growing up where they just don't consider printing stuff, which is not a bad thing in many respects, but it can be a bit tricky in the office when you're trying to print or copy something.
I'll tell you a funny story. I actually did have to print. We had some documents that had to go to a bank, so I had to print them, get them signed, physically signed, and then scan them. And my printer in my office wasn't working, so I went down to the reception to see if I could use their printer just to scan, which they were absolutely fine with. She was like, "Oh, I'll come with you and help you," because it was like 100 pages. And she takes them from me, opens the lid, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And in her mind, and the way she has been scanning, she scans so many documents as well. She puts one in, puts the lid down, scans it, lifts it up, takes it out, put the next one. I was like, no, if we just take all the paper clips off, you can just shove it in the top and it will just pull it through for you.
And it will back
she was
it
like,
as well,
oh no,
won't
but
it?
mine are double. Yeah, she said, no, mine are double-sided, so I don't think that will work. And I was like, yeah, you just literally click the button that says double-sided and then it will do it. And she honestly looked at me with her mouth open and was like, you've just saved me like an hour a day
Yeah. Yes,
on scanning.
it is astonishing. I've got a little document scanner here that will do both sides, but it's a bit grumpy. It's obviously taken some grumpy vibes because sometimes and I quite like to scan stuff rather than have paper lying around. So I'll scan it and then just shred it, unless it's car stuff. So I'll put a wodge in there, and sometimes it will take each one through individually. It'll be perfect. Other times it will take all 10 pages through in one go, and they just jam up. So it's like a printer, and it just doesn't care about its job function. You know, I'm a printer, but I'm not going to work. That's a bit. I hate to say it's a bit French. Like that. French. No, I don't like it. I'm not working today. Yeah, a bit stroppy. Anyway, having dissed a whole generation and a whole nation, have you got a top tip? It's been a while.
I actually do today. It's a work-related top tip.
Fantastic.
It happened to me less than an hour ago.
Oh.
But I thought, you know what, that's a perfect top tip, and I didn't have one. So my top tip for this episode is, if you are aiming to finish work on time, don't message a serial caller.
That is very good advice.
And a serial caller, for those who don't know, will respond to your message by calling you instead of just replying yes or no.
Absolutely right.
Yes. So I was about 5 minutes late to our podcast today because I messaged a serial caller.
Yes, and then there was a bit of microphone faffing, and I didn't think we were going to make it again this week.
Yeah.
So, yes. Yeah, very, very good advice. So my fun fact, although it wasn't a fun fact for one individual concerned in this, an armadillo shell is so hard that when a man in Georgia shot one with a 9mm gun, the bullet ricocheted, hit a fence, went inside a mobile home, travelled through a recliner, and hit his mother-in-law in the back.
That's impressive.
That is incredible.
That really is, actually. Poor mother-in-law.
Yeah, I mean, the chances of that happening.
Slim.
Yeah, I mean, how hard it hit her, because that must have taken quite a bit of energy out.
She really wound him up, and he went, I tried to shoot an armadillo and never guess what happened.
It could be, actually. Could well be. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
You can help spread Lippy and Grumpy's view on life by leaving a review on your favourite podcast platform.
If you're not sure how to leave a review, or if you download from Spotify, there's some help at lippyandgrumpy.uk/review.
And if you would like to get in touch, email podcast@lippyandgrumpy.uk.
So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Bye.